And then Yahira too, if you want to share, that would be really useful too on Facebook. So it says we're live already, but we'll give it a second because it's also simultaneously buffering on this page. So here we go. Done. And now we are officially live. Okay. So hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Tyler Ellison, and I am joined by some of my favorite people. I have with me the lovely Gita Rose and the amazing Yahira Vargas. How are both of you today?
Hi, everybody. So, you go, Gita.
I'm doing so well, Tyler. Thank you, Yahira, and thank you for everyone watching. It's nice to be here and always so beautiful to connect into our human Earth, Mother Gaia, cosmic spaces together. So thank you for having me on Ask RIOK today, and thank you all of us for being here.
Yeah, hi, everybody. I'm so excited for creating this beautiful interaction, energetic interaction, and having people with us. So welcome, everybody.
Yeah, welcome. And thanks to all of you who are in the audience for coming. So we have a lot of great stuff to explore today. But first and foremost, I want to talk about an amazing event that me and Gita Rose have coming up this weekend from Friday to Sunday. And that's called Hybrid Dream Camp. And we know that a lot of you have been desiring camping, exploring community, especially during the summer months. And obviously with this incredible global transformation we're all going through, that hasn't been as accessible for a lot of people. So me and Gita got talking and thought it'd be an amazing idea to create an online camping retreat where me and Gita will be teaching as ourselves. Gita's going to be sharing some amazing techniques she knows related to yoga and breathing. And I'll be doing techniques that are related to Taoist meditation. It's very good for transforming emotions, inducing full body states of being that are based in bliss, joy, etc. And we're also going to be delivering multiple channeling transmissions that are very juicy, in my opinion. We've gotten some of the titles from the guides, and I'm in love with all of them. All the precursory information the guides have said about these channeling transmissions that will be shared during this camp time has been great information. So we're all pretty pumped. And yeah, for tickets for that, feel free to send me an email at tellison700@gmail.com. And we can talk about attendance and admission from there. Yeah. So Guido, question for you, my friend. What is your most exciting idea about Dream Camp? Like, what to you really stands out about what we're doing? And is there a certain aspect of it that you are particularly pumped about?
Oh, thank you for that. That's a great question, Tyler. I suppose what I am truly most excited about is, of course, all of the information and the teachings and everything that we are bringing through as ourselves and with the guides with Bella and RIOK is amazing. But really what I'm most excited about is creating that type of collective consciousness community through coming together online in this way and seeing what we are able to align with and manifest in our sleeping dreams. And then also RIOK and Bella are going to be sharing some Gaia activation contact meditation, and there's going to be scheduled breaks in between the retreat where we can all collectively, individually go outside and connect with nature and practice these different meditative techniques, and also as well as the yoga or the Tao techniques to see what different contact or synchronistic activations we can align with as a collective group and then come back and share. That's what I'm really most excited about, is to be able to expand the net of and the weaving of our family.
Wow, well said. I love that. And I love so much of what you've told me too about your own relationship with channeling and many of the folks who have come to you, many people whom are new to the idea of extraterrestrials, hybrid humans. And what I think is great is a lot of people who have connections to these beings are sort of waking up, or they're coming online, however you want to say it. And I think that this camp will present an amazing opportunity for these people to not only find each other, but to receive information from these beings that they can apply practically, directly to their lives, so they can experience their life from that hybrid perspective, which is ours just as much as it is the hybrids, because they have our DNA, we have some of their DNA. I mean, it is a very active connection between us and them. And I know through stuff you've told me, right, it becomes very visceral, the idea of turning on those hybrid genetics that we all have to experience for ourselves many of these multidimensional teachings as genuine facets of our own lives, which is the coolest thing. I mean, it's the closest thing I know of to being a superhero, but in real life.
So would you say that's what you're most excited about, is being able to offer that way to become more of our hybrid selves?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably my favorite part of this thing, because I mean, I love the channeling part, right? As someone who channels, right? It's so fun being in the flow and letting stuff come through. And that's absolutely one of my favorite parts. But really the core that I love the most is when people take the information and it works for them and they're like, okay, everything's changing. I feel different. I just had a dream where like an alien came and talked to me. Like, I love hearing those stories, because I'm like, look at this. Like, this world that society is coming into is now making contact with people who maybe have never had contact experiences before. And that's probably one of my favorite parts, because I see that as a foreshadowing of what is to come as we go further down this timeline of contact, where the stuff that happens in these sessions or in these events for the people we work with, I believe that soon that will become an experience for many folks the further into this world we go, because that's what we're doing, right? We're sort of steering the collective ship through our own energies into these directions of contact. And whenever I see that clients or family or people are having those experiences, I'm like, look, like we're going further into that realm, and I get really excited about that.
And what about you, Yahira? What are you most excited about?
I think I'm excited overall, the 3-day together. That's gonna be like awesome, you know, energies from all around the world united in one time space energetically and sharing experiences. Like, I got this girl, she couldn't make it, but she told me she was excited about the meditation, the contact activation, and that she would have loved to be a part of that. So sharing those experiences, and I think that's gonna be really, really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And another thing too we have coming up, this is going to be on the 27th. This is an upcoming transmission RIOK will be delivering called Keys to the Anunnaki. And this is something I'm very excited about, because I've also received from him and from visions a lot of precursory information about that transmission. And it relates to sort of why humanity has so many of the challenges that it has, what the Anunnaki beings and their relationship to humanity are, the significance of gold. Like, why does humanity have this love of gold and the esoteric meanings behind that? And also, it's going to get into how other ETs came to then interact with Earth and why that's happening, and how that relates to the Anunnaki and sort of the human creation story. So for those of you who have studied any of the Sumerian texts, the texts from Mesopotamia about the Anunnaki, this is going to be something that touches on maybe some material you're familiar with, but will, as far as I know, surpass a lot of what the collective story has to say in terms of who these beings are, when they came, why they came, and how that relates to us today. And I'm just very pumped. So I wanted to take a moment just to promote that. And that will be happening 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 27th. So look forward to connecting with all of you there as well. So we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Gita, do you have anything you'd like to say about your channeling? Anything that you are excited to share at this moment?
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. I'm providing sessions. I really feel that right now that's where Bella's precise attunement can be the most beneficial for people in terms of really having that one-on-one interaction to find the beliefs and to get really clear on different ways that people can make radical shifts in the moment, to find and write their own his story. So yeah, people can check out my website if they like, gitarose.com, and book a private session if they like. And then other than that, I'm really just having fun doing the weekly YouTube videos, and then of course the Hybrid Dream Camp coming up this weekend. But other than that, I've just really been enjoying kind of taking this shelter time and extracting all of the positivity from it that I can, and just taking things nice and slow. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity to plug. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course.
I just want to say something before we start.
Sure.
For the people who are gonna ask questions, to just type question for RIOK or question for Bella, so I know which is which, and we can, you know, kind of take turns on that. And we will be announcing the winners of the raffle at the end of the video. So.
Yeah. And again, that raffle is for attendance to the Hybrid Dream Camp. That's correct, Yahaira? Hybrid Dream Camp raffle winner. So that'll be super exciting. So make sure to tune in at the end. And also to Yahaira, I think we could also create a third option for people. If they have a question for RIOK and Bella and prefer for each of the guys to speak on it, that's also, I think, an option that would be really exciting to provide for people too. How do you feel about that, Gita?
I think that's a great idea. I think that was the thought that we transferred to each other. So.
Great, perfect. Yeah, so if you have a question you'd like both of these hybrid beings to explore, just go ahead and say this is a question for RIOK and Bella, and then Yahaira will read it at the proper time. So I think we're ready to get started. This feels very good. Thanks everyone for your attention in this lovely introduction. Thanks for being here with us. So me and Gita will dive in, and we're going to have a little bit of introduction transmission at the beginning, and then we'll move into the question portion. So everyone buckle up, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. All right, we thank each and every single one of you for your attention in this transmission. It is our civilization's highest joy, passion, ecstasy, and excitement to be able to deliver this co-channeling transmission to each of you this day of your time. We will be focusing during this transmission on the following idea: the awareness of your physical reality being but a dream, and understanding that through observing the physical reality as being a dream, you have a greater capacity to be able to lucidly live your life, to lucidly dream your dream. We will be exploring this topic in greater depth during the event we have collectively titled Hybrid Dream Camp. However, this day of your time, we will be exploring some precursory facets of information to assist you in tasting that perception, tasting that level of reality, so you can then experience
in this now of your dream, of your time. A slightly different tune, a slightly different tone. For the precursors are accelerating that which you define in many different ways, are attuning and adjusting and entering and arriving in the many layers of the collective, co-created dream. Hello to you all. Hello to the family, unconditional love, to every string, to every song of the orchestra.
Greetings and good day. Bella, we thank you for your participation, for your co-creation, and for your warm presence in this collective transmission.
Greetings to you as well, RIOK. It is my joy, my passion, and my pleasure as always. And thank you for inviting me on your show. We might say that we are all creating together.
Yes, absolutely. And the more we play together, the more the idea of our collective dreaming realities then have an opportunity to more greatly co-create with the idea of our ancestors, those whom are listening in. We will begin to elaborate a little bit more deeply on what Bella has mentioned, and we will speak on how this relates to the idea of observing that you are in a dream. Now understand that, as many of you are already well aware, each of you is in your own unique parallel reality, so to say. Each of you are tuned to your own unique timeline. It's almost as if each of you are in your own individual bubbles. And from your own individual bubbles, you create the experience of being in a bigger shared bubble that you call your collective reality. The idea is to understand that each person's bubble that you experience is tuned to its own unique frequency. It's tuned to its own unique version of the dream world. Some of these versions are very different than your own. Many of them are tuned to very powerful alternate versions of your past, alternate versions of your future. And it is through the idea of, with your own frequency, matching the dream bubble frequency of others, or through matching the frequency of your own imagination, of your own belief systems, that you then create your reality. Understand that there are many individuals on your planet who feel they have an understanding of where humanity is going. They have an understanding of what is really going on behind the scenes. What these individuals are describing is the idea of the frequency of their own unique dream bubbles. And they are also describing a potential experience that represents an alternate version of your shared collective dream bubble, which you might consider to be an alternate collective future. And understand that you are not required in any way to match the frequency of a narrative that you don't prefer. Even though individuals may say, this is what we believe will happen, this is what we know is happening, here is the evidence, here is the proof. Understand, it is their belief and their desire to match the frequencies of such narratives, of such directions, that actually then co-creates the idea of the so-called proof, as well as the idea of the directionality of that momentum. And you, as a co-creator, you, as a dreamer, have the ability to program and co-create your own unique dream bubble. And you do this through the idea of exploring your belief systems. For it is your beliefs that create your reality. It is your beliefs that create your momentum. And again, you can tune yourself to whatever frequency, whatever version of Earth you prefer. Just because you observe certain narratives, certain frequencies of Earth being shared with you by the collective, by the other dreamers, you are not required to match it. And you have the opportunity to utilize the frequency of your passion, to utilize the frequency of your joy, to follow your imagination into your own unique paradise reality. which exists, has always existed, and is your birthright. For it represents the idea of a timeline of a version of Earth that is uniquely tuned to your signature frequency, to your fundamental essence.
We are always sending our information, our songs, our ability to remind you all of the innate stability that you are in the ever-moving changes of evolution. We embody always the dream bubble, the community, the curse of the pre-curse, the course of the verse. We are always sending our bubble in this way, our dream bubble. And it is now your excitement, if you so choose, your ability to continue to refine and feel the vibrations. That allow you to recognize many different feelings. It is very important, paramount, we might say, moving forward, to allow yourselves to truly feel. Only by allowing yourself to really feel and choosing what it is that you prefer, but not necessarily pulling away from sensations that perhaps feel a little tingly, that quicken the heart a bit, that get closer to our bubble, dream. Allow yourself to feel these sensations and feel the ever quickening spin of the heart. And choose what type of feeling, emotional resonance you most prefer, matching our dream, our collective family bubble, and the version of you that you most prefer, that is becoming more apparent in our realities together. And only by truly allowing yourself to feel these emotions can you then be very honest with what it is you must be believing in order to interpret those specific vibrations as that specific emotion. And yes, we know that you know that you cannot interpret a specific emotion without a certain set of beliefs, that the beliefs are creating the filter that allow you to interpret a neutral vibration as that specific emotion. And we remind you all that it works both ways. And again, we very much encourage you to find, yes, not only the beliefs of your denser aspects of your being, the aspects that you do not prefer, but also we might say now to begin to to find the beliefs that are extremely integrative and expansive, that allow you to perceive the quickening of the heart, the tingling of the fingertips. Allow yourself to find the positive definitions of these sensations. Find your own terms, labels, ideas for whatever emotion they may be. And then ask yourself, well, what must I be believing in an integrative, expansive sense in order to feel this sensation in this way? And continue to create your dreams, see your symbolism and your synchronicity stemming from the core of that belief that you most prefer. Riaf, Riaf, Riaf. And to you, then, RIOK.
Thank you. Understand that in relationship to the idea of what has been called precursor beings, hybrid humans, in relationship to individuals whom are walking your earth in human form, who possess the idea of certain amplifications within the idea of their own extraterrestrial genetics. It is your belief systems that allow for you to access that level of your genome, that allow for you to amplify that quality of your
DNA. Interject, sir.
Yes, if you wish.
Thank you very much. Now, we do not want to create any confusion, for there is different language in this way that perhaps just from my perspective I would like to offer, so that individuals watching are not confused, and confusing themselves. That which you understand as a precursor, at least from my universe, are Yael beings. Precursors are Yael. There are some different hybrid beings that may fall under this category, but we very strongly wish to offer the idea that this is very different from what you understand to be a hybridized human. Now, these terminologies, yes, are essentially arbitrary, but moving forward, it is relevant for us all to be on the same page. We might say to have an understanding of what these different terms coming from different aspects of the lineage more so truly define as we move forward. So there are individuals, yes, that have activated genomes, those of which that we might refer to as a bridge race, what we all call the hybridized humans. And those are most of you watching right now that know yourself to be part of the hybrid agenda, part of the hybrid program, but you are also human and you are an activated form of human. And essentially what that means is that your genome has been reset to what human always already was. Ascension is essentially relaxing into. And then in that way, that which at least I call a precursor is actually a Yael being. And there are individuals of the Yael society and some hybrid societies like us that are present on your world's different variations of your dream of your earth. But it is important moving forward to understand these distinctions.
We thank you for the clarification. In relationship to those whom feel as if they are of another place, of another planet, of another star system, recognize that what you are feeling is the idea of your own DNA calling to you, singing to you, in relationship to aspects of the DNA that are pertinent to just that, other worlds, other star systems. The song of the genetics that calls to your consciousness, that in many ways inspires the feelings of knowing that you are greater in the sense than the idea of what you have been told about yourself in relationship to many external sources. And one of the ways you can begin to explore that song, to explore the message of that DNA, is through, again, the idea of what Bella has shared of utilizing belief systems that are integrative. But understand that when you utilize integrated beliefs, positive beliefs, harmonious beliefs, you then allow for those genetic aspects that are singing you awake, like an alarm clock, a soothing alarm clock. You allow for those genetic aspects to express themselves more greatly. Understand that with each generation of humanity, there is an upgrade, so to say, amongst each generation in relationship to the aspects of the genome that are related to extraterrestrial genetics, that are by your own collective consciousness allowed to be expressed. And many of you that feel you have these connections to other realities, you have these connections to other star systems, to other dimensions, understand, as an incarnated being, you do, through the idea of your own soul and your soul's other simultaneous incarnations in relationship to what you might consider to be past or future lifetimes. You also have access, connections to those other dimensions, to those other realities, through the idea, again, of the genetics that are alive within you, within each of your cells. And through creating beliefs that emphasize your positive nature, that emphasize your joy, your passion, you can allow for those qualities of the DNA to become more expressive, to become more amplified. And as you allow for that to happen, you then begin to create for yourself, within your own lucid dream of reality, the idea of a version of reality that includes more greatly those extraterrestrial frequencies, thus allowing for your unique bubble to act as a bridge to the other dreaming bubbles of reality, which contain the idea of many forms of extraterrestrial consciousness. For like attracts like, as you allow for your own genetics to resonate more greatly with the idea of the dreaming realities of extraterrestrials, you increase the probability of extraterrestrial contact in relationship to your Earth. And as you allow for those qualities of your genetics to become more active, you also begin to experience greater contact with other humans, whom are also allowing for that extraterrestrial DNA to become more active. And it is through that particular type of momentum and that particular type of dreaming reality fusion that you and many others begin to then create the idea of a collective dreaming bubble, which can be as big as your entire planet, where open contact becomes more probable as well as more proximal. And we thank you for your attention in this opening transmission. And we are so excited to be working together as family to deliver more information to you about understanding the lucid dreaming quality of yourself that you experience from time to time when you go to bed at night, and how you can explore that level of yourself while you're awake as a physical expression. And this will be something we explore in-depthly together this weekend at the Hybrid Dream Camp. And we now make ourselves available to you for any questions that you may have for either myself, for Bella, or for both of us together.
Donna, donna, nena, anani, sesani, ya lanani, aveo.
That was beautiful. Thank you, RIOK. Thank you, Bella. Bella, I could meditate on your singing, actually. So we're gonna go to the Q&A part, and we have the first question for RIOK. How does Gaia consciousness relate?
Please repeat the question. The audio cut out momentarily.
How does Gaia consciousness relate to Christ consciousness?
Understand that Gaia consciousness is the collective consciousness of your planet. It represents the idea of multidimensional awareness that observes and perceives through every form of consciousness that expresses itself within the collective Gaian mind. What you consider to be states of enlightenment, where individuals go into a conscious perception of their oneness, is a state of being, is an awareness that synchronizes first and foremost on your earth with the collective Gaian consciousness, with the Gaian mind. And as an individual goes into that state of what you traditionally call enlightenment or unity consciousness or oneness, through that awareness of the Gaian collective consciousness, they begin to experience that they are literally all things, all beings, all forms of consciousness on earth within the Gaian mind. The energy centers of your planet interact with your solar system, interact with your cosmos. And as the individual goes into resonance with that Gaian mind and observes their connection, their unity with all things of earth, that awareness is then expanded from the Gaian collective consciousness to that of your solar system, to that of your galaxy, and ultimately to that of your universe. And when an individual fully unifies with the Gaian mind and has what has been called an enlightenment experience, a moment of oneness, that Gaian collective consciousness will then broadcast that frequency to all of the cosmos, so the individual can then begin to have the awareness that they literally are all things within creation, therefore they are creation itself. And that's what many of you are waking up to, that you literally are the macrocosm contained within the microcosm, and that is what your earth ascended master, Christ, realized within himself. He was not the only one who had this realization, who had this experience. However, he is one of the ascended masters that has chosen to become, in that sense, a sort of milestone, a marker to show all of you that that same level of consciousness is also available for you. And the idea is, it is your connection with your earth, your connection with your physical reality, recognizing you are your physical reality, you are your earth, that then allows for that experience of oneness to then expand to include all of creation. And that is, from our perspective, the idea of the connection between the Gaian collective consciousness and what you call Christ consciousness.
Thank you. Next question for RIOK and Bella. Can you comment on the significance or usefulness of the area on Earth we call the Ring of Fire in regards to this time?
We will explain a little bit. It relates to the idea of an energy center that has a level of potency within it that amplifies energies, that transforms energies. And when individuals project their consciousness there or even travel there, it allows for what you'd understand to be a state of being that is similar mechanically to a ring of fire, to be an experience that then one has within themselves, which in many ways allows for individuals to not only purify through the alchemical fire energies that they desire to transform, but it also allows for them to illuminate very greatly their own subconscious and their own collective consciousness in a way where they can begin to see more, where they can perceive a great deal of information that was previously shrouded in darkness, so to say. And it also allows in many ways for individuals to experience a ring of fire surrounding them. And this area of your planet offers that level of consciousness to you, should you simply invoke the energy of that area, should you simply synchronize your consciousness with the frequency of that area.
To add slightly different words to a very eloquent explanation, it is a representation of the blood, the beat, the heart of Gaia. The blood, the beat, the heart of your own being. And to be able to tap into this area vibrationally or locationally, to allow yourselves to further redefine what transformation needs to entail. Different ways that the death process, that the bringing to the light, that the movement of such power can now tell a different story. And by proxy, that then shifts and changes how Gaia herself is able to move and utilize and flow these energies, so within, so without.
Next question for RIOK and Bella as well. Would they recommend aiming to explore the Atlantean crystal city under Malta, and what may we find there?
Please repeat the first part of the question.
Would they recommend aiming to explore the Atlantean crystal city under Malta, and what may
we recommend it for you if it is something that you feel excited to do, and what you would find there, well, that is your journey to discover.
Understand that within the underground areas, the subterranean areas within this location, there are certain ruins that relate to the idea of Atlantean society, Atlantean consciousness. For there were Atlantean colonies that were a part of this region, and some of the structures and aspects of that colony have particular underground components. And there are certain archaeological digs that are taking place that relate to mild explorations into the idea of certain subterranean aspects of this colony and its remnants. Now understand, the crystalline city aspect that you describe relates to the idea of an extra-dimensional quality of this original Atlantean colony, in the sense that the crystalline matrices that are under your planet, that are beneath your surface, hold within them the idea of collective memory. They hold the idea of energies that have been present on your Earth and will be present on your Earth in a linear sense. And the idea is that the higher self quality of that Atlantean colony, but not just that Atlantean quality, have deep associations with the underground crystalline matrices of this particular area. And if you wish, you can begin to telepathically, psychically connect with that crystalline matrix that is underneath Malta. And you may find that it will act as somewhat of a extra dimensional or trans-temporal bridge, which can allow for you to more greatly perceive and receive contact between yourself as an incarnation and the idea of potentially your Atlantean counterparts, but not limited to just Atlantean counterparts. For understand, many of you on Earth, especially those who have a great deal of interest in the Atlantean stories, have a great deal of incarnational experience from the soul perspective with that time and with the idea of not only the Atlantean capital, but other Atlantean colonies.
We would very much recommend for this individual, as well as anyone that is also excited to connect with their own counterparts, to begin to essentially put RIOK and I out of a job in this way. So we might show up in different ways. Oh, how fun. To take action. Now, this does not mean needing to go to the location. You can do this right here, right now, with what you have at your disposal, where you are. Now, playing with the idea of vocal channeling, if that's fun, and we say playing, to play, to perhaps mimic what you have seen channeling look like thus far, to also write letters, to play as yourself that is existing in Atlantean time, and to write as yourself in that timeline from Atlantis, a letter to yourself in this frame and this now. It is crucial that you all take the action of your excitements and know that the precise information that you need from your collective, from your Atlantis, will reveal itself to you.
Thank you. Next question for RIOK or Bella. When do you see the starseeds of Earth coming together and living in communities and co-creating more together physically?
In terms of timing, it does vary from individual to individual because each of you are in your own unique frequency of self and self-exploration. And that unique frequency in many ways determines the idea of what actions you believe you are ready to take within your journey, within your life. However, as those of you whom are more greatly embodying the overall signature frequency of yourself, you may find that such communities and such actions that represent the integration of such communities will be more available to you because your beliefs empower that. And as you take those actions, as you forge those communities, which again is simply you shifting to the reality where they already exist by acting as if you're already a part of them, you then in many ways set the stage for other individuals whom are learning to believe in such possibilities for themselves to then match your frequencies and join and follow along. Now, we know you are in a bit of a global transformation. However, many of you are finding that through your internet and through simply getting to know those whom live around you, that you are in a position where you can begin to experience in different ways that feeling of community, that feeling of family, that feeling of kinship. And even though there may be some time left before you experience the idea of greater ease in relationship to travel and coming together, you have many tools and individuals available to you now whom can assist you in more powerfully, more intimately exploring that state of family, of unity, of community. So you will find that it varies from one person to the next, for you're all technically, again, in your own different dream bubbles. However, we are detecting that as your society begins to open back up, it is probable that due to the mass exodus, so to say, from many of your cities into more rural areas, that many forms of community that are very new will begin to form. And you can begin to shift to that version of reality where these communities have formed through simply embracing the communities you already have, be they in-person communities or be they online communities, and imagining you are already a part of such communities using the reflections that you currently have and beginning to coordinate, beginning to speak, beginning to dream with other individuals whom are like-minded in relationship to this direction will increase the idea of that experience's proximity to your present moment awareness.
To reflect and add another layer to this, all humans are starseeds. We understand what you mean by this, the conscious recognition, perhaps, of one being a starseed. All humanity is this. And by seeing the human hybrid starseed divine nature in every eye that you come into contact with, you are then in community with the starseeds. And to echo what RIOK has just said, right now you are in a moment of community with other starseeds, as you might classically define it. And the more, again, to echo this idea that you see and build the community within yourself, and then with all experiences, be it online or in line as an aspect of your course, for of course, every eye that you align with to see is a star seed. And by you further embodying the bridge, the hybrid, the star seed that you are, and fully being it, fully blossoming, the more then that you emanate this frequency for others to match and make their own translations of, and for you to align with different versions of that entity. You are the seed that allows other seeds to blossom. And by knowing this ever constant, eternal contact that is your being, you then align with what you are understanding and create with what you are understanding as more physical communities. We are the community that shines brightly together. For that is what the word Yahyel comes from. It is a Hebrew word that translates to the community that shines brightly together. And you know that the Sasani, Sasani is people of living light or place of living light. So all of us together are already right here, right now, the community of light that shines brightly together.
Thank you. Next question. Can you give any information on the Rh negative bloodline from Sirius that some humans have?
One of the things we'll say about it is that this particular blood type allows for individuals to have greater awareness, if they so choose, if they explore this capacity within themselves, a greater awareness of the idea of that particular connection to Sirius. It can allow for them to receive very directly light from the stars of Sirius into their genetics. For understand, your DNA teleports in photons from a variety of other realities. And this particular blood type allows for photonic light that is of the Sirius stars to be teleported in more greatly to the individual's genome, allowing for the cells of the body, the mitochondria within the cells, to process and utilize that light, allowing for them to explore more greatly within their own selves their connections to Sirius, their, so to say, Sirius ancestors whom donated, so to say, the genetics that have a relationship to the blood type. For some of you have greater levels of the Sirius genetic inserts than others. And this particular blood type has the capacity to explore those Sirius connections very greatly. Individuals whom have this blood type may find that they develop, again, should they explore the capacity, a relationship to Sirius where they may find themselves actually channeling the idea of information from this star system. And this can occur consciously where they recognize they're channeling, they recognize the information is coming from there, but it can also occur in a more unconscious way where they are not necessarily aware that they're drawing from that particular frequency of the Sirius stars. However, one of the reasons that individuals have this particular blood type and the corresponding genetics that relate to it is specifically so beings from Sirius can have a sort of on the ground presence in relationship to your Earth experience. So they can more greatly interact with your planet, so they can more greatly perceive what is currently taking place on your different versions of Earth, thus allowing for them to act as better guides, so to say, for they will have more context for humanity and for humanity's process.
It also serves as a type of door. The Sirius energy is a door that allows individuals to connect to not only the Sirius idea, but also cyclical incarnation of different societies existing in timelines that you would understand to be before the donation of the DNA that activated and created this specific blood type. It is the support, we might say, of the Sirius energy that allows individuals to look into essentially what I will translate as the cycle of trauma, in a way where you can truly feel the fluidity of transformation, of bringing the darkness to light, and having a type of guide, going to the idea of the dog of Sirius, knowing that you have a guide to go into these areas of many civilizations' experience of a variety of different traumas, and that the sister-like connection of Sirius and Gaia provides a type of support system to ensure that these vibrational, energetic, informational explorations can be done in a way that is quite safe, again, if individuals choose to utilize it in that way, to then be able to activate their own understandings, again, of this cyclical expression, to be able to fully shift into the utilization of the gray, to then be able to reverberate out to other individuals. There is a type of power in the understanding of the darkness and the light that these individuals are able to emanate and wield for the rest of, again, many societies. Now, another interesting thing to play with is the idea that to some degree, one moment, to some degree, this is actually the baseline. This might even be the original bloodline of many different civilizations. So to not fall into the experience of comparison, we might say, to know that this in many different ways, perhaps more so metaphorically speaking, is the bloodline, the original blood type of many different civilizations. And then as the one experiences itself, there are many different fractals, so that there again can be many different dreams, many different notes, and many different songs in the fluidity of bringing darkness to ultimate light.
Thank you. Next question. I have a 2-year-old son who's not speaking yet. Doctors say it may be autism. I'd love to know if there's a better way to help him without that label.
All right. Well, understand that the label is something you can use if you feel it serves you positively, and understand that even though there are different understandings of autism, recognize that you also have the ability to craft your own definition about what that label represents for you. Just as there is the idea of what your health practitioners have called attention deficit disorder, there's also many different types of understandings of what that mental phenomenon is, and it relates to certain understandings of advanced connections to other dimensions, more direct awarenesses of other expressions of reality, expressions of consciousness. And the idea is, even if a label is utilized, that does not necessarily have to be something that expresses itself as a limitation. For you can also, again, utilize your own imagination to say, what does this represent to me? What do I prefer to believe about such an idea? And what you consider to be a label in that sense can go from being something that you feel limits you or holds you back, or limits or holds another person back, and can actually be a symbol for a greater experience, so to say, if you are, of course, excited to utilize the symbol in that way. Now, understand that many of the children that are being born on your earth right now are a little bit different than the generations of the past. And again, as we have said, each generation that you have experiences greater levels of upgrades. Understand that many children, in particular those whom are autistic, have the capacity to experience some of those upgrades within themselves. And this can relate to the idea of an enhanced sensorial capacity to experience both physical energy, emotional energy, and what you consider to be psychic or pranic energies. In other words, these individuals have an enhancement in relationship to their perception of these other levels of consciousness. And through within your own self, exploring the idea of the physical dimensionality to yourself, the emotional dimensionality to yourself, and the idea of the pranic spiritual dimensionalities to yourself, you can begin to more greatly match the frequency of your child so you can experience that bridge of connection, of communication that links the two of you. And one of the aspects of the child that we are detecting presently is an aspect that relates to, again, the teacher archetype, in the sense that the child is teaching you through their energy how to communicate with them on those different levels. And you can begin to understand for yourself through exploring those other levels of communication, those other levels of communion, different aspects of this child's being, different aspects of this child's consciousness. And that can allow for you to get to know them in a greater way. And you may find that this will actually reveal to you different levels of inspiration, different levels of your own imagination, so you can assist them in creating more balance within themselves, more balance within their environment. And through the idea of using this subtle level of communication and creating the idea of balance in both a physical way and emotional way, in a spiritual or pranic way, you may find that through that level of balance, speech and speaking may be something that then more easily expresses itself through them. But that is, in terms of our perspective, one of the teacher levels of the scenario, assisting you in recognizing the other ways that you can communicate with this being. For understand, they are more aware of you and these more nonverbal forms of communication than you may currently recognize.
To echo and add just a bit, speak to this individual the way you would a Shalanaya being. Relate to this individual the way you would one of us. Play with that. Hold that space for this being that is from a different world, that is now human.
Just a time check. It's 7:06 your time.
All right.
Question for Bella and RIOK. Can you comment on the Christ consciousness of the Magdalenes?
The Christ consciousness of the Magdalenes, meaning the Mary Magdalene energy, at least how we are interpreting this idea, is the marriage, is the blending of the feminine and the masculine in the translation, in the idea of what you would call Christ consciousness, and in many different ways how the feminine is awakening into this aspect of the Trinity. They are essentially the same thing, and one cannot and did not exist without the other. And it is the expression of the evolution, of the understanding of the importance of the blend, the marriage of masculine and feminine heart energy, and the full realization of their innate presence in the divine, all that is.
And understand that as you connect to those two polarities within yourself, you will experience very greatly the idea of what that divine union is and what that divine union means to you. For understand, you both contain, all of you, the idea of the masculine, the feminine, in other levels of polarity, the light and the dark. And understand that through playing with those polarities within yourself, you can more greatly experience the idea of what you consider to be unity consciousness. For one of the ways that the ascended master you call Christ experienced that state of oneness, that level of oneness, which led to a series of enlightenment experiences, as you call it, was through the idea of balancing and playing with those polarities, playing with and balancing those energies within himself. And understand that it's through unifying the two that you get, in that sense, the three. For in unifying the two, the masculine, feminine, it requires the idea of the third perspective, which observes that integration. And when you experience the energy of three, you are experiencing the idea of a number of balance that, when doubled, relates to the 6, the first perfect number, mathematically speaking, that allows for you to observe the idea of that field of unified awareness that links all things. And when the 3 is tripled, you get the idea of the 9, the highest level of consciousness you're able to go within yourself before you become the 10, the number of completion, source. And understand, it is the idea of the unification of the masculine and feminine energies that allows for you to experience the 3. And as that is sustained, it then leads to the 6. And as that is sustained, it then leads to the 9.
Next question, how can we connect with our hybrid children? I guess RIOK and Bella both.
Well, understand, one of the ways you can begin to first and foremost play with the hybrid children is by playing with your own inner child. Because that right there, what we have said, is the hint, the playing. The playing. For not only is your life a game in the sense that you are exploring in a somewhat sandbox reality type framework, but your life is also a play, similar to how you experience theater. And you have the ability to be whatever character you choose. And there are some characters you can select that represent different versions of yourself that are very much aligned with who you are and your true nature, and some that are not. But through resonating with that archetypal energy of the inner child, you have the ability to experience that play, that quality of playfulness within your own being. And as you dance with that energy, as you explore that energy of not only playing with your life, but recognizing that your life is also a play and you can be any version of yourself that you choose, you will then begin to go into greater resonance with the energy of the hybrid children. For they gravitate to the idea of an individual, so to say, that channels their imagination in very playful, expansive ways. For as you know, like attracts like. And as you allow for yourself to be that version of you that dreams as a child dreams, that expresses as a child expresses, free and uninhibited, you then allow for yourself to more greatly experience your connection, your relationship with the hybrid children.
We are jumping at the gun here. We both spoke at the same time. This is such a topic of excitement for many of us and many of you at this time. Yes, play. Contact your inner child, play. And then also make it a very deliberate, set of actions. One thing that we most certainly require from you all is the ability to take action. You know this. A physical being needs to take physical action. So if you have not already, please write us a letter stating that you are ready to remember more, stating that you would like more awareness of the contact that you have already had, stating that you are ready and willing to meet more of your children. We at this point require this type of physical action from you. We need it to ensure that your song, your dream is in the agreement of your free will, and that you are beating the drum of your fractal of Gaia, that he wants this contact and is ready for this. You need to use your free will. So we very much encourage writing a letter. And then also at this point, most of the interaction is occurring in the dream state. So to again set a focused amount of play, of being with your inner child and allowing this vibration to emanate with you, and also bring in a certain level of your ability to again take action in a sense of pragmatic way, and to set forth a type of determination and practice. For, again, most of the interaction occurs at this point in what you would define and understand as the dream state. So there are a few different ideas that, again, I am very excited to offer with you all to help you further align with the remembering of the contact that you've already had, of knowing how to decipher the energies that are always, always, always being sent to you. So before you head off to sleep, ask for it. And also, again, perhaps write something down or draw a picture. Doesn't need to be long, doesn't need to be overwinded, but just do something physical. And then go to sleep. And as you drift off to sleep, allow yourself to the best of your ability to remember your waking day as you would a meditation. What is the first thing that you did when you woke up in that morning? How did you get out of bed? Did you yawn? Did you stretch? Did you notice the sky outside? Did you go to the bathroom? Did you go get a glass of water? What did you have for breakfast? How did you feel when you were making the breakfast? Did you really enjoy your morning juice or your morning coffee, or were you on autopilot? Allow yourself to really feel and absorb and reminisce each aspect of your physical dream, your waking dream. And what usually happens is most of you will skip a few scenes, you'll skip a few hours, you'll jump all the way to lunch before you were finished eating your breakfast. This is just how the mind works, especially as it is in the process of going into the hypnagogic state. And much like a meditation, you pull yourself back to the next frame, the next idea, and breathe and float and breathe and float in the next frame and the next frame. And allow yourself then to really feel the dream-like qualities of your waking life. This also allows you, again, to step into the state of play, of being in commune and communication with your inner child, and really allow yourself to feel the subtle qualities of how your physical dream feels and merges and blends then with what you understand to be the astral dream. And continue to the best of your ability, again, remaining in the state of focus, remaining in the state of determination, and finding the blend of play with this. Keep looking at the next frame and the next frame, nice and slow, steady, sweet and smooth. And then allow yourself to drift. Most of you won't make it till dinner as you fall asleep. And this is perfect, this is normal, this is your brain making the realization that your heart is sending that you are already dreaming. And allow yourself to drift and drift into what you understand to be the sleep. And once you wake up then the next day in your next level of the dream, once your consciousness has projected itself to a frame that you understand to be the next day, everything is here and now, everything is here and now, everything is here and now. Once you have the experience of waking up the next day as your consciousness is projecting itself into a frame that is always in existence, do your absolute best to remember anything that you can. And make note of it. Again, please, if it is exciting to you, please take physical action, make note of the dream, of the experiences, whatever it be. Doesn't matter if it's a few pages of remembering, of recalling, or just a word, a phrase, but write it down. And as you know, the more that you take action on your excitement, as you follow through with the information that your higher self is sending, the higher self then knows that you are ready and willing to receive more. And then also your hybrid children very much know that you are ready and willing to receive more. So have fun, and this is also an interesting way that you can begin to remember more of your dreams. Again, is allowing yourself to really feel the dreamlike quality of your physical waking life. We thank you for this question. The children thank you for this question, and we have already received your letters.
Oh, beautiful. Next question. What was it like for your civilization to go through a great transformation such as we're going through right now? And what were some of the big changes in your society as a result of this shift?
In relationship to our civilization, we had a period of time where our telepathic link was first becoming established. And the idea is, over a certain period of time, the link became more and more and more obvious amongst every member of our collective. And this is one of the largest transformations that our species had. There are other ones that we are going through, including our current transformation that we're going through as a species right now. We are, in that sense, as you call it, ascending from the idea of a fourth density experience of ourselves to eventually a fifth density expression of ourselves. And we are currently going through that transformation. And we are being guided by the beings of Sirius in relationship to this process. In terms of how we experience it, its quality, it has some similarities to the level of consciousness we have currently been at in relationship to the fourth to fifth density shift, in the sense that it's almost as if we are going into the dream awareness of ourselves and of creation in a deeper way, where we are beginning to not only experience ourselves as individuals, but we are now beginning to experience ourselves as the collective consciousness that dreams and generates the reality. For understand, currently in our evolution, even though we're aware of our collective consciousness, we still have the experience of ourselves as individuals. And as we move more greatly into the fifth density awareness, where we will become non-physical as a species, we more greatly become aware of that collective consciousness energy. That becomes even more highlighted. The individuality is still there, but to a much lesser extent. And it's almost as if our default perspective of ourselves then becomes that of the collective consciousness generating the reality. So in terms of its feeling quality, it feels similar to being absorbed into an ocean that is aware of not only you, but itself as an expression of you. It feels as if we are getting pulled into a current, into a tide that knows us, that is us. And that is our current transformation process. There is some challenge in relationship to it. We still have our own exploration and relationship with the unknown as we experience this new level within ourselves. And this is why we are receiving guidance from the beings of Sirius. And it is also one of the reasons why we are guiding with the other hybrids, all of you. For you are going through a certain shift within your collective in relationship to observing your reality as something happening to you into a perspective of your reality being something that you are dreaming, that is inseparable from you, but is also equally your co-creation, your dream. And that is why we are delivering many of the transmissions that we are delivering at this time, because your species is progressively moving to a level of consciousness within itself that relates to our species level. So as we are guided up the ladder, we guide you up the ladder. And your collective transformation, your collective ascension relates to that process. All of you recognizing that you are in a waking lucid dream. That's no different than the dream that you experience at night, with the exception that you believe that it's somehow more real than the dreams that you experience at night.
In my slice of the Yahyel civilization, we exist in a density overlay. We, in our home realm, for it is different than where the craft is situated. In the home realm, we are very much connected to Gaia. It is an overlay of what you would still recognize and understand as Gaia, just existing in fourth density. It is an aspect of Gaia that has always existed and will exist again, with many of you present in this new form of Earth. There is a relevant energetic depiction of this that you can find in the movie Avatar of Pandora. It is a loose enough idea, energy of this form of Gaia that we are all connected to. And so in our transformations, after some years of evolution, of evolving, we might say, with the lighter, higher vibrational frequencies of our collective. Now, when we say our collective, humanity's collective is also connected to this. From our perspective, yes, we are being guided, and also it goes in all directions. The ladder is a spiral and moves in many different directions and connects to many different timelines and many different civilizations. In many ways, your evolution has helped to guide us. And yes, then also it is the other way around, where we aid in guiding you. But in this specific transition that we are speaking of, in what you would understand to be a past of my specific Yahyel civilization, there was the understanding then of the importance of exploring the shadow, of having great excitement and adventure in knowing the joy of the unknown. And by utilizing and owning the shadow and the darkness, that this is a very powerful way to be able to further access layers of this unknown. That is essentially where all things are born, where all things continue to be unveiled in the mystery. And so it was an aspect of our evolution to have a sensory feeling of a deep level excitement, of knowing that we were ready to venture into the depths of the density, to feel contrast and polarity, and to be able to utilize these vibrations in very, very exciting ways. And so it is a level of this that you all are able to tap into now, if you so choose. For us, yes, we had a different level of foundation. We have a muscle of deeply knowing connection and deeply knowing the course of unconditional love beating through our veins. And so in some ways of looking at it, we do understand and acknowledge the sensations, that it might have the experience, the definition of being easier for us to see the joy and the excitement and fully embracing the density and the contrast and the darkness and utilizing it for evolution. But allow yourself to, again, feel the sensations arising within you, and feel and find and feel and find and feel and find the integrative beliefs that you must have to be able to interpret this sensation as some form of excitement, and choose to know that you are an aspect of that form of Gaia, that you are your avatar in your expression, and to know what it is you know, that you are always connected. And during this time of transformation, you can choose to utilize the density, the polarity, the drama, much as an actor would in a show, knowing that it is for the purpose of telling story, and that you feel it now in your heart, that there is a forward moving power behind understanding this level of contrast, of density, and wielding it wisely and alchemizing it, finding the inverse translation of that emotion. For when it came time for us to be able to understand and explore and receive the guides of our ancestors, of you all in this way, we were oh so excited to be able to understand these vibrations, for we knew that also one day it would be relevant for us to relay these sensations, these ideas, these paths back to you. We then also have had another interesting transformation that is perhaps what you would understand as being more so recent in our timeline, is the knowing that it was appropriate for our ships to come closer, to have many different interactions with you all again in the dream, to steward many of the children. This is the evolution that we experienced when it was time for us to, certain ones of us, to venture past the comfort of what I call Adorapan, this realm of Gaia. For we received dreams, we received invitation from the beyond, from the mystery. For we don't always know all the answers, mind you. We experience mystery as well. There is the dreamer, that is the all that is, that sends us and you information, and we just follow hunches and ideas as well. So it was an aspect of our evolution that we received dreams and understandings, that it was time to take our crafts and to systematically locate them around different versions of your Gaia. And again, knowing the excitement and the joy in following the mystery and the unknown. So we thank you very much once again for your choices, for your courageous embodiment of density. We thank you for being stewards and guides of this, and now we reflect back to you the amount of true excitement and adventure that can be found in those frequencies as you identify them and wield them as different emotions.
It's 7:30. How do you feel about the time?
The timing is perfect. Thank you.
Should we continue with questions, or should we proceed to the raffle?
At this point, we can allow for the conversation to come to an end in this form of itself. However, it continues in many other forms, in many other ways. We thank you all so much for your attendance in this transmission. We are so excited to be playing with you in these ways, and we shall be exploring with you more greatly how to lucidly dream your life, how to align with these hybrid energies, with these hybrid dreaming realities in a variety of co-created ways, so you may experience more of that which is already alive within you, in your own genome, expressed more greatly in your local and collective reality. Our unconditional love to each of you. And we thank you for this co-creation.
Sha 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 kani sha 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 kani sasani sasani sha 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 ya hella sha 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 ya hella ya 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 hella ya ya hella ya 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 sha 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 our unconditional love to you all. Ha'atu avail. Raffle! We are playing the raffle, yes?
Okay, so I just want to say, I just want to welcome all the new people we have on the chat and the Spanish speaking audience too. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. And please join our Facebook groups, RIOK and Bella, for more upcoming events and more giveaways. So the first one we have is Laura Tase or Taze, Laura Taze. She won one spot for the Hybrid Dream Camp. Daniela Grigori, and Zach Stevenson. So congratulations to all three of you, Daniela, Laura, and Zach.
Thank you all for participating in the raffle. It's going to be so much fun to work with Bella and Gita in this hybrid dream camp. And so awesome to see the people who, through synchronicity, were able to win in the raffle and gain attendance. So it's a great honor to have you here as part of the camping team. We'll get the links out to you soon so you can join in this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then for those of you that are still interested, tickets are available. We still have some spaces. So again, feel free to contact me for information.
We are all always connected, different bubbles, different frames, different screens. All here, all now. Our deep, unconditional love to you all. Aveo. Adios. Aloha. Thank you so much, everyone, and congratulations to our winners, and thank you for all of the new people and all of our family members, and thank you, Tyler and Yahara as well for inviting me to be on the show, and I'm so excited for our hybrid dream camp.
Good, it'll be so good. Thanks everyone for being here. Thank you, Yahira, for hosting and for fielding the questions for us. It's really amazing. You're a great friend, great person. So it's really fun to be playing with you in this capacity.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, guys. And there are still people asking me if they can still join the hybrid camp. And yes, the last day, till the last day, Friday, right? They can still register for it.
Yeah, we'll take people up until Friday, but once not class, but day one has started in the evening time, that's when we won't be taking people, because people will at that point be kind of missing out on the, on the content. So before Friday evening, make sure you reach out to us for tickets if you'd like to participate.
Yeah, and just remember, join RIOK channel in Facebook group and Bella and the community Facebook group for to stay updated with all the news coming up. Thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
so
Thank you,
much.
Kita, for your awesome gifts. Thanks for playing. So good to be here with you.
Likewise, thank you so much, Tyler, and thank you, Yahira, and thank you, everyone. It's just so beautiful when we all come together like this. So, much love.
Much love to you all. Bye-bye.
Peace out, everyone.
Aloha.